I've been wondering, should I forgive J. Cole?
Please don't mention his high morality and wanting to lead the youth to a better outlook in life and try to act like he's morally better than these guys. Don't try to argue the fact that he was just being a leader to the youth when this with Drake. Drake raps about the exact same things these young kids were, like drugs and fucking bitches, and basically doing all the things he dissed the SoundCloud rappers for. But he condones it with Drake and does music with Drake and doesn't mind if Drake does it. I guess the difference is that Drake can actually rap and Drake doesn't back away from a beef, so he decides to be a hypocrite, a straight up hating hypocrite. He would then later backtrack on everything he said about the SoundCloud movement while talking to Lil Yachty.
At that point in time, you were kind of also, fuck these new niggas too.
Not outwardly. I never did anything, I don't think, outwardly. Well, maybe I did.
Shit, I hate these rappers, especially the immature 8-week rappers, lil whatever.
You kind of like came at all of the new generation.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
You see how this nigga didn't try to take accountability and act as if he was attacked for no reason? Yachty didn't let that shit slide, and he had to remind him that he came for a whole entire young generation, which he then admits to hating on Soulja Boy for the same exact thing, and basically admitted to being an overall hater.
A lot of that shit, for me, I was conflicted because on one hand, we partying all the time to this music. But on the other hand, I'm like, man, this shit go against everything that I think that I am or who I am. I had some fake morals. Around the time Soulja Boy came out, I don't know how this happened, but I had a realization within myself. But at that time, I had resistance. Similar to when you came out and your class came out. I had resistance. Nah, that's not the thing that I love. Like, what? Y'all fucking with this? Like, I was one of them. Yeah. And it was literally a part of me that had a realization. So I was like, bruh, you a hater. Like, yo, you are literally hating. Fast forward, when y'all came out, mind you, I'm coming off my biggest album ever, like 2014 Forest Hill Drive, boom, boom, boom. I'm feeling like, whew, boy, I did it. This, that, and the third. And then right before my eyes, it's shifting. Completely shifting. It's like, man, that shit we didn't care about that shit no more, bro. Like, my knee-jerk reaction to that music was the same. It was, man, this shit, boom, boom. I had to have a conversation with myself like, nigga, you hating.
Again, throwing stones and hiding your hands. Nah, nigga, you ain't fooling nobody but your dumbass fan base. That's why Kanye to this day don't fuck with you. You just never stand on shit. Every situation you backtrack, or you like to drop out of the fight and act like it wasn't like that and everyone took it out of context. The same way you did the SoundCloud rappers and now how you're doing Kendrick and Drake situation. You like to backtrack. J. Cole would then still later praise Kanye when the Genius documentary dropped in 2022, showing his support and admiration. He posted a picture of Kanye on his Instagram page saying, "Thank you for this, Kanye West and Cootie Rock. Phenomenal, vulnerable, powerful, sad, inspirational, insightful, wonderful, masterful. Grateful to have watched." Are you guys really gonna give props to somebody you think is a false prophet that you took shots at? Like, let's be for real here, man. Throwing stones and hiding your hands. And then there's the recent K-Dot situation where he jumps on a track that's clearly aimed at his so-called friend. Fully aware of the beef between Dot and Drake. To make it worse, after Kendrick revealed that Drake had invited him to collaborate on the exact song that dissed him, and he declined it, would mean Cole knew about the situation, the reason behind it, and still chose to take shots with his friend's rival, playing all sports in his music videos that only takes 2 players, like chess, ping pong, football, boxing, the Spider-Man meme. It was loud and clear what Drake and Cole was doing. They were throwing stones. I've seen some Cole fans stick up for this behavior though, saying that he fell victim to Drake and didn't realize that Drake was using him to aim at K-Dot. And they try to say he didn't realize that it was a Kendrick diss track at all. And I call bullshit on that. Not only is J. Cole about to be 40 years old, making him older than both parties involved, he builds his entire music persona around being an analytical rapper. And you're telling me he suddenly couldn't read the fucking room and he became oblivious to the So when he was called out by his friend, Kendrick, for clicking up with his foe, Drake, Cole released a 7-minute drill in a response, completely disrespecting K-Dot's catalog, saying how he really and truly felt this entire time. Again, unprovoked, because Kendrick's Like That verse was only a response to what Cole and Drake did loudly. Kendrick never broke J. Cole's character down the way Cole did to Kendrick, and it revealed J. Cole's true feelings that he's been keeping inside this entire time.
What up, world? Your boy Challz Brown back again talking facts. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG. Gang, I've been wondering lately, was I too hard on Cole? I know a lot of you are big fans of Cole. Some of you could care less about Cole. But I took a stance when this battle began, when J. Cole came out the woodwork with the actual first full diss record against Kendrick with his I Might Delete Later song 7-minute drill. I actually tried to defend to a certain degree in my group chat because I had heard it once. So I was like, the group chat was tanned down. They was like, yo, this dude bit Jay-Z's lines directly in here and it just ain't it. And I was like, yo, it ain't. My whole defense was that he ain't really want to do it in the first place, right? And I was out there hearing one spin. I was like, he ain't want to do this. You could tell he ain't want to do this. And after I really got to listen to it and started to basically dissect what was being said, I started to have a real problem with it. But at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's a hip hopper. He's taking the challenge on. I think he got gassed up to do this by people who aren't in the culture, who aren't a part of this per se. And they're kind of making him feel like he has to do this because you could clearly hear in his voice that he wants no part of this, right? He wants no part of this, but he wants to sound tough. And he dropped this record, dropped it real, like boom, bang. You can clearly tell it was for the album rollout. You can clearly tell this was a marketing strategy. If you really understood what was going on, he was dropping an album right behind this. So it clearly was not a genuine effort. I think Cole had a lot going on. Is this when he's about to start a new label or something's going on major with this new contract that's going on with Cole? I don't remember at this point. It's so far ago. I'm so far removed from it. But I think he had a whole lot of pressure to make this album move. And the number one way that rappers move albums is to make diss records and put them on the album. That's the old school way to move these records. I'm just going to be honest. I can name you at least 5 records off their head that put a diss record on to move it. Was it Stillmatic? Was it NWA's what was the NWA when they diss Ice Cube? Maybe Niggas for Life, and then you had Q put No Vaseline. So there was a bunch of albums that dropped that people put their diss records on. And the albums sold gangbusters, right? Even Dre's The Chronic had the diss of, who was it? They were dissing the East Coast. And they were dissing this guy, what's my guy's name that he ran with KRS. No, it wasn't Just Ice. It was F Compton, Tim Dog, that guy, right? So it's not like unheard of to put your diss record on your album to move your album units. That is like hip hop 101. So I was like, I thought J. Cole was above this though. I'm just gonna be honest with this guy, J. Cole being the false prophets, I really started to realize I had no idea who J. Cole really was. And I had to check backwards and rewind because a lot of the stuff I realized I gave Cole a pass on a lot of really funny style things, right? A lot of weirdo stuff that J. Cole did almost his entire career. And I think this battle, a lot of people are like, Challz, he just realized he made a mistake. He jumped out the window. You're being too hard on him. And you are actually, your mind frame is almost counterproductive to where we want to take hip hop where it needs to go and da-da-da. All of that is bullshit. I'm just going to be honest, gang. Like, no, you're a rapper. You rapped a lot of shit. You talked a lot of shit right up until this battle started, and then you backed out. But let me just stay focused, right? Let me stay focused because it's deeper, and I'm trying to get to a place of like healing, understanding, right? I want to be more yada yada yada, whatever. And so I was like, Challz, maybe let's re-examine this Cole thing. Because I get comments to this day. My very last, almost any video where I say J. Cole's name, someone goes in the comments and say, give Cole another chance. Go back and listen to this and that and the third. And I am very, I'm not gonna say protective, right? That's the wrong word. I am very engaged with Kendrick and his movement and his music. So when J. Cole came out attacking that movement, talking about he has no classics or he got one, whatever he said, he just was dissing the music. And so all your music is sleepy, this and that, whatever he said, right? I barely remember that. I just know he went in saying the most heinous, ridiculous stuff about Kendrick's music, just trying to do the basic. I think it was like a round table that he had of people talking about just everything he could say, that throwing things at him. I think he just put that in the back of his mind and just put him in the pins, because half the stuff he said, he didn't even believe himself, right? He didn't believe that stuff. But he wrote this stuff, and it triggered me that I'm like, gang, for you to write this stuff, you were feeling this kind of way. And you were waiting for the moment to say this stuff, and you thought that it would hit harder, and it didn't hit. That's why you backed out. So I want to backtrack, because if I'm going to forgive this dude, right, I need to know why I'm forgiving him and what I'm forgiving him for. So I'm looking back, and I'm like, gang, all I remember really about J. Cole's career is J. Cole always on some, like, dare I say, light-skinned stuff, right? The whole career, gang. I went and watched Deleted. Deleted put the perfect video out. The I'm Sick of J. Cole video. That video summed up Cole perfectly. I'm just going to be honest. And I know there's a lot of J. Cole fans out there, and I just got to keep it a buck, gang. I hear you, and we all got this magical, some kind of wool put over our eyes with J. Cole, and we all feel like, oh my God, J. Cole is just a humble guy. He wants to ride his bike through the city and just be to himself. He walked out of the studio. What was her name? Money Long. He walked out of her studio because of the negativity. We just want this glamorized persona of this Christian-like monk, which is it's an oxymoron, but it's like a Christian-like monk. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like this peaceful brother with his hands folded like Obi-Wan Kenobi, just like on some other shit, right? But when you look back, it's like, gang, almost everything you hear about Cole from the beginning was like a dude scared to lose a spot, jealous of other rappers, tearing people down and then backtracking on it. It's almost like, gang, like I watched the Deleted video when he attacked the SoundCloud era. J. Cole plays two different sides of the fence almost in every scenario. He came out, attacked the SoundCloud era. Backpack dudes like myself was like, yeah, right? He's one of us. He's on that boom bap, ba ba ba. Soon as the pressure came down, he caved in, started reaching out, doing interviews with Lil Pump, of all people. Right? He sat down with Lil Pump, and I'm sitting like, who cares what Lil Pump is thinking? Why are you sitting down with this goofball? Why you wasting your time? No, he really sat down with the dude, trying to get in his mind. Who cares, gang? I never got it. I didn't get it. It's like, yo, he's reaching out. He was setting a positive example, but I don't think the example was all that real. I'm just going to be honest. Because you can't be a lyrical miracle backpack guy and you make these lyrical miracle albums, you're making your own beats, and they're all like on some high level conceptualized lyricism, and then you're gonna go sit down with Lil Pump and try to get in his head. It don't make no sense. You don't need to get in his head. There's nothing in there. But it was this whole PR stunt almost, where he's trying to sit down. Now he's sitting down with Yeti and he's explaining himself to Yeti. Why? Why? You're the one that predicted they won't be around in a couple years. You gave them, what, a year, 2 years? 3 tops? Right? Meanwhile, you're doing more units than them. You have a bigger fan base. You have no reason to reach backwards. So I'm watching the Deleted thing, and in the interview with Lil Yachty, he's like, yeah, I had just had my biggest album of my career, and I felt the shift. As my album was being celebrated, I felt the shift of hip-hop. All these young SoundCloud guys were coming out, and I got nervous. Basically, he got scared, and he started to lash out. he was hating on him. And that's the thing. If this is my thing, for you to even be hating on these people means your heart is one of these hearts, and I'm just gonna be honest, and I know he explained it, but it's almost a weak heart when you're looking at other rappers who are clearly beneath you lyrically, who admittedly will have short shelf lives, but you're looking at them with jealousy. It don't make no sense. Now, competitiveness is one thing, but to look at Lil Yachty, Lil Pump, and Lil Uzi Vert, all these guys, to look at them with jealousy is low-key. You got to have a certain kind of mind state to be jealous of these dudes. You're supposed to not even care because what you're doing ain't even what they're doing. You're making money, you're making units. You obviously could operate in your own bubble because you had a specific niche that you were fulfilling. So it didn't matter how hip hop shifted. It didn't matter what the fans wanted because you still were selling in your own right. You were outselling these guys. So it wouldn't matter. 2 years later, you would have came out with your own fan base that wanted what you were doing. I don't know if he understood that. You were going to be bigger than them no matter what they shifted to. You were always going to be bigger than that SoundCloud vibe out type of music that they were bringing up on. You were always, look at Drake. Drake is similar to this guy in a way. Drake was never mumble rap. He never was mumble rap, and he made his own way, still spitting clearly. He wasn't, yes, he stole a lot of that vibe. He balanced both levels of the game is what I'm trying to say. And he took a lot of people's vibes and combined them into his own. But at the same time, when he rapped. We're just going to be honest. When he rapped. They weren't rapping. They weren't rapping. I'm just going to be honest. So what this guy had, he had an advantage over them because whatever they could do, a vibe conceptualize, he would actually spit some real stuff and get even bigger. His fan base was crazy. J. Cole was doing numbers unheard of. You could combine 2 or 3 of them guys that he claimed to be jealous of, and they weren't reaching his record sales. It is what it is. So it made no sense for him to be jealous of them. So, but you're looking at them saying, I want that anyway. It speaks to your insecurity. Then when he dropped False Prophet, again, pandering to people like me, the lyricist, the backpack guy, the boom back guy, the soul beat guy, that industry is some bullshit guy, finger wagging, just like on some, you know what I'm saying, overly conceptual, where's the intellectual rappers. That's who he was speaking to. That's why that song was like, so people defended that song tooth and nail. They was like, F Kanye, F Wale, and everybody else he's talking about. Right? But then you think about the song, you're like, hold up. Kanye was like your idol, and Wale is your friend, and you just made a record dissing both of them. You had to ask yourself, like, what kind of dude is what we dealing with right now? Like, dead ass. Yes, we all had flipped on Kanye. We were all sick of Kanye, and we didn't even get super high peak level Kanye yet. We got, like, kind of top Kanye. We hadn't even got, you know what I'm saying? We hadn't even really got the whole Kanye where we just can't stomach this dude. We just got we got kind of annoying Kanye, and he did a whole record like False Prophet, So again, he tapped into us, the super lyrical, and then he backtracked, said it wasn't about Kanye. And I'm telling you, every time he responded to one of these things and backtracked, I mentally locked it in, but I always thought, nah, this is Cole. I'm sure he has a reason, but he got to pander. It's like when you see your, like, I don't know if nobody got a favorite politician, right? But if you have a politician you like, and you see that he has to sit down and cooperate or like kind of work with the other side on this, that, and the third, or sometimes he has to make a statement that's kind of not where he was leaning before, but it's just to get some things done, or you thinking and you're rationalizing in your mind that he's doing that to get something done. You're not thinking like, this motherfucker's a fucking liar, right? It's like, this dude is literally lying right now. When you know it's a lie, but you're like, he has to say that, you know what I'm saying, just to keep things smooth. It's just that, no, he's literally lying. But most people are going to make the excuse that it's just politics, So a lot of times when I saw Cole backtrack on the Kanye thing, literally backtrack and said that song wasn't about Kanye, everybody and their mother knew he's rapping literally about Kanye West. There is no in between. He's rapping about Kanye. Let's just be honest. He's rapping about Wale. Wale was pissed about that song. And he made in the whole excuse, oh, well, it really wasn't that. So it's like, you're watching this guy wiggle out of stuff that he stood on, and we stood on it with him because we all felt the same things that he said on the song. And then when the pressure comes on, he backtracked. We've seen it 2 and 3 times, right? And maybe I'm just going to be honest. Maybe Jay-Z saw this stuff, and that's why their relationship was never really what he thought it was. He was like, oh, I don't really talk to Jay that much. Jay saw it. Jay probably saw it early. He probably was like, this dude's insecure. He's chasing he wants to be everywhere at all times. He wants to be in every circle. That's the kind of guy you're going to get that's going to make a stance and then backtrack on it when they press him. A guy, he wants to be with the cool kids. He wants to be with the nerds. He wants to be with the stoners. He wants to be with the freaking, the goth kids. He wants to be in every circle. Well, each circle is a circle for a reason. The goth kids don't like the cool kids. So you make a song to the goth kids, dissing the cool kids, then you go over to the cool kids and say, them goth kids, they don't really get it. I get you guys. Like, so it's like, bro. So all of this back and forth pandering and all of this stuff where it's, oh, it's this way, then it's that way, that stuff starts to wear on you, on me. So then I get to last year, right? Cole had come off some of the illest verses. I seen this guy do, what was it? It was a 3-year run. And this is my opinion. I feel like Cole, ever since that female rapper No Name challenged him and Kendrick during the Mike Brown, during the was it, I don't know if it was before, I think it was before George Floyd. It was Mike Brown and a couple other things that happened. Black Lives Matter had just started. And she's like, where are these conscious rappers? They're never on the front line, da-da-da. Meanwhile, these dudes were already at the protest. They weren't exposing themselves. But when she dissed them, they had pictures of J. Cole at the protest. They had pictures of Kendrick at the protest. She didn't know that. So she clowned him for he was fake woke, fake conscious. Remember that? And I think, in my personal opinion, as me being a spitter and me being a hip hopper, I know how we think. I think he was like, oh, this chick trying to box me in. She's trying to make me the poster child for this socially conscious bullshit. She's trying to put me on a milk carton. Well, guess what? I ain't on no milk carton. I'm not Martin Luther King. So you're never going to get the chance to do that again, because every verse after that, this dude was eating MCs. I promise you. Do the history. All that conscious shit was over. Every verse he got on, it was like, I'm going to kill whoever's on this track. He started doing mad features, and I was like, yo, for about 2-3 years straight, this dude was doing nothing. It was nothing conscious. It was like, yo, even when he was supposed to be conscious, it was like, no, I'm not doing none of that. I'm going to eat MCs. Like, you know how Cannabis say on Mike Tyson told Cannabis, you need to eat MCs. Eat them. This dude was all about eating rappers, chewing you up and spitting you out. So I was like, Cole has made a conscious effort to never be boxed in into this, I am going to be like freeing the slaves, right? Dead ass. So he made that decision. And for 3 years straight, Cole was, and he put a cap on it. This dude got on that Benny the Butcher, that damn Johnny P's caddy. And I'm going to be honest with you. I said, this nigga right now in this fucking moment, this nigga has reached the pinnacle of like a God MC right now. I'm just going to be honest. Benny the Butcher held his own on that record, but this motherfucker came on the day I was born. Like, it's like, yo, I was like, I listened to that joint to this day, and that joint gave me chills. I'm like, this motherfucker killed this shit. It just, everything was perfect. The video was perfect. Everything was perfect. And I was like, this dude has no one can touch him right now. Kenny wasn't doing much. Kenny coming off Mr. Morale. Like, no one, I'm like, no, and that's don't get it messed up. Mr. Morale, one of my favorite albums all time. So we're not gonna do that. But what I'm saying is, Kenny wasn't trying to eat MCs, right? He would tell you here and there, like, I'm smoking on your top 5 tonight. But other than that, he wasn't really on a mission on all these features all over the country. I truly believe in the back of Cole's mind, he did all these features to get his name up as the guy to go to eat these features up. I think it was pure ego. I'm just gonna be honest. So I felt like, yo, listen, this guy is God tier right now. God tier. And then what happens with a God? They have a moment where everything has to come to a head, and that's the first person shooter. To this day, that record is hard, gang. It's hard. That's a hard-ass record. I don't care what you say. You can hate Drake, you can hate Cole, you can hate me, you can hate whoever. That record is hard. Dead ass. Video gotta be $1 million. Gotta be $2 $3 million video. Dead ass. That's not a cheap video game. But what got me is I got more into that song after the beef started. I'm just gonna be honest, because I wanted to go back and see like what was really going on in this song. And this dude, J. Cole, was talking reckless. Reckless, gang. Like, go back and listen to that first person shooter. I just listened to it 2-3 days ago. Because somebody made a compilation of all the records of the diss. Some dude put it on YouTube, all the records that happened. And I went back and listened to it. Now, side note, I'm going to do a whole other video on Drake's verse after that song ends. Someone can tell me what that song is after, because I don't know Drake music like that, but he spliced it after first person shooter goes off. It's a song with Drake just spitting bars to a whole nother beat. I know, I don't think that's part of the song. So I think it cuts into another song, and Drake literally is trying to kill Kendrick on that song. You can clearly hear that this is all directed at Kendrick. Like, oh, you don't want to work with me? Cool. I'm a body on this. So it's all directed at Kendrick, and that's a whole nother subject, right? I'm gonna get into that another time. But Cole literally was egging Kendrick on in first person shooter. Literally. These dudes felt untouchable. He felt like one of these guys. If you know anything about mythology, most of these guys get destroyed when their ego gets out of control. Drake and J. Cole's ego was out of control on first person shooter. Out of control. They point at each other. He's the Spider-Man. I'm Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man. They was like, since this dude didn't want to get on this song, we're going to eat his ass up. I truly believe, I said it last night on the other podcast, that they left a space for Kenny, and Kenny refused it, so Drake put a second verse right there. I think they had that space where the second part, at the end, where Drake puts the second verse, I think that's supposed to be K-Dot right there. And they reached out and he said no, so Drake put another verse. Just my opinion, right? This dude was trying to completely eliminate. It's kind of like when Jay tried to eliminate Nas. Nas hadn't even had a chance to really respond when a lot of people started writing Nas off because Jay came at him. It's kind of like that when it was like, okay, you're being quiet. Well, this is where I'm going to cut your head off. But it didn't work, because what happened was, we all saw what happened. This guy came with the like that verse, which when in hindsight, he had no choice. I'm just going to be honest. I have a second video that I'm going to do too. It may be today or tomorrow, but it's going to be about how Kendrick single-handedly removed a cliche, a word from the hip-hop lexicon. Big Three, he has removed that word with that one song. No one says that word anymore, unless it's in remembrance of it or in jest, comedic value. No one's talking about a Big Three anymore. That shit is dead. And Kendrick removed it. With like that, he had to respond, because if you hear how reckless they're talking on this song, it's no more words to be said. I gotta spit and I gotta come at these dudes and actually take both of them out, which he ended up doing. Now, Cole struck first with that 7-minute drill. And I told you, I can tell in his vocal tone, I could tell the stuff he was saying, he didn't believe it, and he didn't really want to do it. But he had the album coming out, he had dudes in his ear gassing him up, and his ego is out of control. He feeling God tier. So he wrote this thing, and I don't know if he did it really in 7 minutes. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know if I believe he sat down with the pen and paper, go, and hit the stopwatch, and just did 7 minutes, But it could be because some of the stuff is not well thought out. A lot of them bars, you didn't think that through, gang. And the only thing, when people say Challz, he got caught up in the moment, and he was, okay, so he got caught up in the moment, but then why are there other disses on Might Delete Later to Kendrick? If he got caught up in this one song, no, okay, cool. Why are there other little slick lines on Might Delete Later to Kendrick? If he's only caught up in the moment and he recused himself and he felt, no, what happened was he wrote this thing, it didn't pop, everybody was clowning it, it was unilaterally panned as trash. And he like, well, damn, I thought I hit all the points. I thought I hit all the talking points, because all of these rappers have talking points. Let's just be honest. Drake has talking points that people, when they go to diss him, it's the same stuff. Ghostwriter, you like young girls, you soft, like, you know what I'm saying? You sing when you should be right. Like, everybody has talking points. J. Cole's talking point is your beats are sleepy. You don't have no classics. You're not really that hood. Like, it's a lot of stuff that they say about J. Cole as well. So everybody has talking points. So he hit all the talking points of Kendrick. Oh, your music, it ain't as good as everybody hype it up to be. Like, he hit all the Kendrick talking points that you would have thought would have worked, right? Didn't work. He was like, well, shit, if I really want to come back, I got to get really mean and really nasty. It's going to be really crazy. I'm going to have to sit here and be extremely negative. Yes, nigga, this is going to be negative. This is not going to be some, I'm just going to skip to my loo and just say anything. No, this going to get real nasty. Whoever in this, we don't like each other. This is going to be nasty. You're going to have to say some real serious shit. You're going to have to hurt my feelings. He didn't want to hurt nobody's feelings because he didn't really want to do it. So he goes and put his shit. The way he did it was awful. He goes on his own stage at his own thing with his own fans, telling his own fans, look, K-Dot is the best. I'm feeling lame about this. I'm going to pull back and I'm going to delete it. Da, 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 da. And right there, all the other stuff that I just told you, the SoundCloud, the Kanye, the Insecurities, all the stuff we had to do. I would have, my album almost didn't come out because I never could get a record that Jay would approve. There's a poor me mentality. Oh, Jay-Z wasn't going to put my album on until I came up with a hit. And then I had to do the workout plan, which fucking sucks. And now I let Nas down. So it's always like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's me, it's them against me. They're always doing something to me, da da da. So then we got to this point where J. Cole is on stage letting his whole fan base down. Half of them was like, they can't recover to this day. They're like, bro, I'm just like, why? Right? These are our heroes, gang. And this is supposed to be, you're supposed to be a hero, but you're straddling the fence on both sides of this thing. So no, I don't think that it was all just, oh, I got caught up in the moment. You have a history of doing that. You'll write the thing, you'll pander to the people that want to hear it, and then you'll be like, yeah, I might delete this because I don't feel that way no more. Like, we need somebody that's going to stand on what they're saying. That's why we love Sheik Luch. We love Jada. We love Tupac. We love insert whatever rap. We love the people that stand on their stuff. Right, wrong, or indifferent, negative, positive, whatever. You're standing on it, right? You might wake up in 3 days and whatever J. Cole said today, he'll switch it back tomorrow. Right? So then just in time for me to say, I'm all set with J. Cole, he comes back after the whole battle, his smoke is cleared, right? Comes back with the Port Antonio, talking this and that, and it's just like, gang, like, what are you doing? This is a love letter to Drake. And I never understood. I always thought this dude was trolling with all this Drake love. He wasn't trolling. I truly, because when he said, Drake is the greatest rapper alive. Drake is the greatest rapper alive. He's done more for me in my career. I said, man, this dude, I wrote this stuff off. The past 5 or 6 years of J. Cole doing these wacky things, I wrote him all off as, nah, he's just trolling. He's just saying that for the moment. Then I realized he really is saying this stuff. He really feels this way. He went on tour with this guy. I'm like, dog, you're 10 times better. You're on a higher level. You're vibrating higher than Drake in every freaking way. Why would you go on tour with this guy? And then they hit him, I'm like, oh, he wants Drake's fans. He wants Drake's fans. He wants that level of accolade. He wants that. He don't want to actually put the work in to do the pop hits. He wants to still be J. Cole and get that love over here with us, but he wants to go steal this guy's fans and then come back over here with us. And he wants Kenny's fans. And then he's bitching all these years. Oh, they always put me number 3. They always say I'm in 3rd place and da-da-da. Middle child syndrome and all this. I can't be 1st or 2nd, da-da-da. But why? Why am I not? So it would be like one day he's fine with being the middle child or 3rd child or da-da-da. Then the next day he's like, why y'all don't put me? I'm number 1. So it's like a bipolar mentality. And it's like, gang, I am personally not really trying to deal with that. I need you to stand on one side or the other. Like, if we over here with the backpack soul guys, sure, we can let the SoundCloud guys live and breathe. They can do what they do it over there. I don't gotta walk over there and try to get with you too and go arm in arm and go eat the shit out of these niggas because they're not lyrically, like, they're not really lyrically able to deal with you. So you could go eat these motherfuckers, go on they track shit on them. But he's like, oh, he's collecting fans over here, da-da. Before you know it, J. Cole, everybody in rap knows who J. Cole is. The people over here, the meatheads, and then the people over here, like, everybody know who he is. So I get the plan, but to me, at some point, what do you stand on? Because we could see you tomorrow with, you know what I'm saying, the kite runners, like anybody, like, it's just, what are we doing? Like, so it's like, I'm not saying to be gatekeeping it to the point you're not working with other people, but what I am saying is we need to know who you are. And my heroes and people that I'm going to respect, they're going to leave 7-minute drill up and let it be what it is. Even if they regret it, it's going to be up. We're not deleting nothing. We're not. So I'm like, gang, that's what made me so mad. It wasn't even about, oh, he just backtracked on the battle, said he was sorry, apologized. All of that is the problem. But the real problem is it seems mad wishy-washy from day one. It's been wishy-washy for years. Everybody he's dissed, he's apologized to. So what are we doing? Why are we dissing in the first place? That means he don't know himself. If you're not a diss rapper, like somebody like Speech from Arrested Development, or like, you know what I'm saying? There's different people, Biz Markie. Like, it's certain people, they're not diss rappers. You're just not diss rappers. So why are you making, it seems like you're taking these shots at these people and then you're like regretting them 3 days later. It's just consistent over the last 10 years. It's been the same thing. So it's like, gang, what are we supposed to believe in, right? You're gonna make a hot line? Like, I can't say you're the best lyricist in the world. Well, half the stuff, you're gonna regret it next week. It's like, what are we doing? You've been talking about and MCs for freaking 10 years. And then the very first chance you got to prove that on the highest stage in the world, this freaking Super Bowl, you did a song, you threw a pass, you dropped the ball, and then you picked the ball up and went back into the locker room and said, I'm sorry, go watch the real guys play. When after all this time, you've been begging to be considered in that Big Three situation, that you the one created it, you named that thing the Big Three. You kept trying to make us believe that you belong there. Well, we see Drake belonging there because Drake, win, lose, or draw, that motherfucker did not back down and he went and rapped. Kendrick belonging there because he went and beat the shit out of both of you guys. So them two dudes, win, lose, or draw, and yes, Drake is trash. Don't get it fucked up. I don't fuck with Drake, but at the end of the day, I don't fuck with Drake as a result of this battle because I see where he took it and it's goofy. But at the end of the day, that motherfucker fought. He got in the arena and fought. He didn't get in the arena, throw a bunch of shots at the dude, and when they missed, take all his armor off and walk back into the back. He didn't do that. Drake Gladiator fought this dude. So, in closing, I think I done talked myself out of forgiving this guy. But I want you to tell me in the comments. You heard my rant. You heard my stance. I think a guy that deserves forgiveness, right? And this is about me. I don't care if he cared what I think of it. It's just about me. If a guy need my forgiveness, I got to understand that he know what he's done in the first place. I feel like he kind of flaked on hip hop in almost every kind of way because every chance he got to defend hip hop from the SoundCloud invasion, according to him and some of us, right? From Kanye's pure disdain of himself in the culture that he jumped in at first, then he turned around and said he only used boom bap and backpack to get where he is, and then he abandoned it. He said that, right? And from Drake, who clearly is the what's the word? I'm not even gonna say culture vulture because he's worse than that. But he is the abomination of hip hop. He's the boil on our back that we can't reach. It's finally popped and it's disgusting and we see it for what it is. That's what Drake has become in this thing. And you had your chance to defend yourself against all of that and you didn't. You caved in. You went and grabbed him. You hugged him. You're sitting there making love songs to the dudes, which I can't understand because this dude don't give a shit about this hip hop culture. He just went to the feds on another rapper. It's goofy as hell. And I don't know what you're thinking because you're not talking about nothing. So my opinion, and no, I didn't watch this podcast. I won't be watching it. I probably won't listen to any album he drops. I just feel a strong way because I'm like, if I can't believe you, I don't need to listen to you. That's just how I am with this rapping. Like when I listen to a rapper, I need to be able to close my eyes and listen to your soul. Listen to what you got to say. I just listened to Ransom's album. That's a dope album. It's a lot of records. That's dope. But I need to realize that's really what you feel. You've been through enough stuff that we can believe you. I don't need to think that this might be some stuff he regrets in the morning, or he might regret this next week and be like, yo, bro, that's not even me no more. Like, you need to be who you are. It's rhymes I wrote 20 years ago that I stand on right now. Like, I'm not changing one word. So it's like, gang, like, I need to know that the person, yes, people grow and they evolve and they get wiser and smarter, but I need to know that the stuff that I'm hearing from you, for the most part, you're not going to change in a couple weeks. I need to know that. And I feel like I never really I've listened to all of J. Cole stuff, but it sounds like somebody else talking. Like it sounds like a guy telling you stuff, the little bits and pieces that sound good in writing, but it's not really your soul. I feel like you're not really giving us who you are. You're telling us bits and pieces, things that happen to you, but I don't feel like we're getting you. And if we are getting you, it feel like something that is contrived in a way, to me, in my opinion. I'm just gonna be honest. So end of the day, man, I know people don't care if I forgive or not, but I'm gonna let y'all tell me in the comments, give me some examples of why I should forgive for this whole thing. But I really, for hip hop, I'm speaking for hip hop. I can do that because I can speak for hip hop. We got that kind of relationship. I can speak for hip hop. Hip hop, to me and hip hop, we feel a kind of way about this whole deleting the diss track. Because to me and hip hop, if you this Christian monk, you would have never made it in the first place. It's a contradiction to even make it and then have to delete it. So to us, to hip hop, you're a walking contradiction. It's not that you realize later and then you came to your senses. You've done this too many times to not know you're going to regret stuff later. At this point, you shouldn't do anything negative to have to pull it back in the first place. At this point, you've been doing this over 10 years. Jumping out, saying something, writing a whole verse, then pulling it back, saying, oh, I'm sorry. This is a 10-year thing now, gang. So I can't forgive you for this. This is a pattern. And I know a lot of people going to get in the comments, oh, Charles, you don't understand. He made a mistake. No, how many times you going to do this? It's like a boyfriend that keeps cheating. How long you going to do this, gang? Until I walk out the door? So then I'm just going to walk out the door. CLBMG, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit the like button, hit subscribe, share. All right? I'm going to catch y'all on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
CLB.